then when we vote, we should raise our hands so less confusion, right?
Yeah, well, we definitely can. Yeah, if you, I'm fine by me.
I think we did that last time, so.
Yeah, well, I said we can definitely do that. We certainly want to get the voice part too. I'll be sure to, ask for anybody, any dissenters or absentees. So.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Dave. It's Sharon. Yep.
Oh, good. I thought I was they said I was put on hold and I was afraid that I'd be locked out. Good, glad you can hear me.
Yeah, I think there's we use the waiting room feature. I think Alice does that, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think I heard from Alice and from Allison that you guys have started the recording.
Yes, and Mark joined us too, Mark Mulvaney.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Howdy.
All right. I said, well, it is 7 o'clock. Let me call to order a regular meeting of the Brookfield Inland Wetlands Commission. Today is Monday. Just to check.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Thank you. Today is, I've been saying Monday all day long. Tuesday, the 26th of May, 2020. My name is Sharon Fox. I act as the chair of the commission. We have 4 members with us tonight. Dr. John Donovan is a regular member. Mr. Michael Neustadt, who is a regular member. Mr. Dave Frankel, who is an alternate. And Mr. Mark Mulvaney, who is our vice chairman. I think I got everybody. So that's 5 of us. So Dave, you will be a voting member tonight.
Thank you.
Also with us is Alice Dew, who is the Wetlands Enforcement Officer, and then Allison Kennedy, who is our recording secretary. So that is it for the members and for the member and people who are a part of the commission here. So we will start our meeting with Wetlands Enforcement.
All right. There haven't been many changes, as you can guess. 148 North Lakeshore there's been no change, and it's hard to do any sort of evictions at this point. 58 Old Grace Bridge Road, there hadn't been any work done at the last meeting, and I doubt there was, but I'll get in touch with him for the next meeting. 83 Candlewood Lake Road, the briefs have been filed in April, and I haven't gotten any new news on that one. 24 Old New Milford Road, that was a violation for work in the Upland Review. And he has planted all the trees and shrubs that he was asked to plant, and he has planted the grass and put down straw, but the grass isn't yet established. I didn't want to sign off until that was all finished. So I'll wait on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason, there's something odd about the grass, like we don't have to hold it forever, right? So, because I think I'm trying to remember, there was a bond on that, as I recall.
That one, no, it was from a violation.
Okay, so no bond.
No.
Okay.
But I told him I'd come out and do a final inspection as soon as the grass was established.
Okay.
So he'll
Great,
give me a
thank
call.
you.
We had one other wetlands issue come to light at 71 Stony Hill Road. It was some piles of organic debris that were at the end of the driveway at that house. And I sent a letter asking for the property owner to call me to discuss what the piles are doing there, because the piles in themselves weren't really a violation, but they were within the upland review area. So I did speak with the property owner, and I explained to him where the wetlands were and why they need to be taken care of. He was unaware he had bought the house 4 months ago. And he had some chips and other debris that he spread to make a play area. So I told him going forward, we need to know exactly what's going on. He just had no idea. So
Did any
I
of it,
think
but
that's
it's all in the upland review area. None of it has migrated to the wetlands.
no, no.
And best judgment, is it like 20 feet away or 50 feet away or 5 feet away?
It's like 20 feet away.
Okay.
So I just had that on, I hadn't issued a violation because there really wasn't one yet. But he's aware from now on, he needs to get a permit,
Okay.
and that's it.
Well, in theory, he would need a permit for that work,
Yes.
right? To deposit wood chips, but I think you made the right call. This looks, like I said, it's 20 feet away. It's very de minimis. It's my opinions, but I'll just leave that open for my fellow commissioners here.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with how Alice wants to proceed with it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I am also.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank
sorry.
you.
Too big a deal about it as long as he gets into compliance.
Yeah, there you go.
All righty. Thank you. Anything else for us, Alice?
Nope.
Okay. All right, and we don't have any, I said we don't have any active site inspection reports. We don't have any old business, nothing carried over from last meeting or any meetings before. So first up, we've got new business. I've got 401 Federal Road. It's a modification to an existing permit, talks about changes to landscaping and plants. Someone here for that application?
Yes, hi, Greg Steiner for the record, and my sister Betsy Steiner.
Oh, hi,
Can
Greg.
you hear us? Hi. Hey.
Yes.
So I just thought, can
So
everybody
let's-
hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we can. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about what this is about?
Sure. Well, it's hard to believe it was 9 years. It was 2011, so it's been like 9 years ago that we were in front of this commission, like almost to this date, that we got approval for this. And as you know, we kind of haven't been working on it in the last year and a half. We worked with the Hollies, and you've probably seen that they got their building done. It's all landscaped and it looks really nice. And in the meantime, we've seen a big change in the market and what people are looking for. And we saw how the field actually worked out. So we're kind of like thinking that we'd like to change the view of the plan a little bit and make it more of a farm themed project that we're working on, because even though we have those buildings built, we're not sure what the market's going to bring to us in the future for those buildings. So we've been looking at this kind of a item by item. We're very happy with the Hollies, with the medical building. We're hoping that maybe we get a couple more medical buildings or maybe even a restaurant. And with today's world, especially with the COVID-19 and people want to be outside, we just think that it's such a nice corn, a farm. Everybody knows it as a farm, that the original planting plan had a lot of trees that were almost creating it back into a forest. And we really thought that it would be better served keeping everybody knows it as the cornfield. And I've actually been talking to a farmer from Bridgewater that we're thinking of taking the rest of the remaining property as of now and turning it into a hay field that he can use for his cows, for his hays in Bridgewater. So I think I'll let my sister describe a little bit of the couple of the change of plantings that we suggested. And the reason we're in front of the commission is that some of these plants are within the 75 feet of the two little wetland areas that have been designated.
Okay.
So as Greg said, yes, there was on the original submittal, there was an awful lot of plantings, and our proposal kind of not minimizes, but reduces the plantings and makes it a little bit more of a farm-like field. We have some cherry trees growing. We have some grasses, some ornamental grasses coming in, and I don't know if anyone has the plans in front of them, but the original wetlands, we're looking at the wetlands that are right off of Federal Road, kind of on the corner of Federal and Junction. There's an entrance to the park right off of Federal Road, and it's the wetlands directly to the left as you're entering, there's a small little wetlands area there, and that's the area that is in question. So yes, we're looking to do more ornamental grasses, cherry trees, a little bit of horse fencing, and then kind of hay the rest of the area, so that we can kind of keep a theme throughout the park, with the horse fencing and the ornamental grasses, and then these other trees. We're also looking at some apple trees as well. So
Betsy,
the area.
can I just
Yes.
jump in? I'm looking at, like I said, you guys, I have a big set of plans.
Yes. Okay. So
Which one do you think we should be
okay.
looking?
So look at the plans that you have are dated 4/29/09. That's the large set. And if you look at sheet C11, it should just be sequential from 1 to 11.
That was the original planting plan. So we're looking
Yes.
to modify it to the new one that was from CCA dated 4/22 of this year.
That's right. And the
So we should be
4/22
looking- you
plan
want us-
is just a single sheet.
Okay, so you want us to be
Hold
looking
on, give us a minute
at,
to get to that plan, please.
Yeah, hang on, yep.
Yep.
So is everybody there? I know I have it, but I might want to zoom a little bit. Is everybody able to get to it?
I'm looking at hard copies
Okay,
of the original plan and what it says sheet LS1 modification or mod. I
That's
believe is
correct.
That's what we were given. And it's quite minimal,
LS1 mod, yes. That's the
Okay.
new sheet.
right?
Okay,
Is,
so
I'm looking at
LS1
C11 from 2009.
The 11 from 2009, that was the original, yes.
what
And
I'm
then there's-
confused, I'm sorry, what I'm confused about is there's a whole blank area in the middle with just a typical tree. Are you eliminating all the planting?
No,
in the-
not at all, no.
Okay.
All they did was kind of, for the purpose of this modified landscape plan, they voided out, for lack of a better
Explain, Betsy.
term, the middle
that actually-
section so that they show the details.
Okay,
Right, but that.
But
that
everything
plan
else
was- that was
remains the
approved,
same.
was, that
Okay,
was
let me
planted for
just-
the existing plan for the revised permit from when Holly's bought the property.
Okay,
So
let me
if
just
you
do a
look at-
check. Look, you guys, hang on, let me just do a check here and make sure everybody's either that or I'm just going to, I can just share what I've got here. Make sure everybody's looking at the same stuff. Host, I can't do it, so. Mark, I know you were looking for it. It's the last one in the list, right? The
It's page
modified
14
landscape.
No, I
plan.
see it. It's page 14 of 31 is C11 of the 2009 drawings.
Right, that was
Correct.
the original submittal, yes.
Yeah, but I don't
That's
think
what
that's the
you
one
asked
that
us
they
to look
want you
at.
to look at. Yeah, they
No.
want you to look at no. They want you to look at, see the third
Correct.
item in the list, the modified landscape plan?
I do, but Betsy said to go to C11, right, Betsy?
That was the original plan that was submitted, and the new plan is a single sheet. And I'm gonna see if I can find it as well.
Well, I think
Sharon,
we
I
can
made
find
you,
that.
Sharon, I made you a co-host if you want to show your screen.
All right,
Yeah, that I see is your LS1 mod. That's the new drawing.
Correct.
Yes, it's the third item on
Yep.
the new business.
But it doesn't overlap well to the other drawing for me.
No, because what we're looking to do is we're looking just to modify this section of the
Right.
site plan
Right.
right now, because we're focusing on just the two entrances. So because now that we've got these two areas done and planted, we like to do the planting this spring while the weather's still good. And then as we come back on an item by item basis, as it seems to be what's going to happen, we'll come back with the additional plant and plantings as each building gets looked at again.
And so nothing where they put the tree showing the root ball, nothing in that area we're not proposing anything to change.
Well,
in
no,
that
it
area.
was built, no, that was built
Right.
and constructed to the
Right.
original set of plans.
Right.
That's already in place. If you drive by their place now, that was planted exactly to the original set of plans.
Okay, I'm still, I said, for some reason, I have a couple of tabs open here and I can't get to the tab where this one single sheet is, LS-1 MODLES is. I can't get to it to share it.
Okay, let me see what I can do here.
I can get to my other tabs, but oddly, I can't get to that one.
I just want to ask a question here, if I may.
Sure.
So the 2009 drawings are what is approved.
Correct.
So what you're proposing on this new drawing, whether the work's been done or not, what you're proposing on this new drawing is a new modification to a new permit. So this is what you want to do, what you're showing us on this LS print.
Correct.
Yes.
So this is what we're going to consider.
Correct.
Okay.
And
And the
again,
permit is still open
yes,
from 2011.
correct.
So you've gotten some extensions.
Yes. And then again,
Okay.
the reason for the block out in the middle is because we actually sold that property to the Hawleys. They got re-subdivided with reapproved, and they used the same planting plan that's on this plan.
So can everybody see the modified plan?
I'm seeing it, but whoever's sharing has the agenda up.
Yeah.
Oh, why
Mhm.
is it,
Yeah.
huh, on my screen it's
Yeah.
showing.
Yeah. Well, I think
Hold on.
that's what was
Alan,
happening to
I
me
think
as
I have it
well.
up. Do you want me to try to share it?
Yeah, I think you have to download the file to get to
Well,
share it,
it's-
otherwise it just shows up as agenda.
Well, it sounds like everybody got to the one single page, which is
Okay.
the new proposal, which is the LS1. So
This it?
is there anything, so in order to really understand the
Yeah.
differences.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, it's
So in
on the
order for
screen
us,
now.
in order for us to understand what the difference is, we got to toggle between this one and the other one, right?
Yeah, it'd be, unfortunately, it's easier
Yes.
when you're in front of you in a live audience. Yeah.
I'm looking at both.
What
All right, well,
appears- oh, go ahead.
can you guys summarize what the changes is? You talked in general that you're gonna have more grass. Is that because there's gonna be fewer bushes and trees, or?
Go ahead, Bets. Just kind of start from the upper left on Federal Road and work your way down along to the 133 entrance.
Yeah. Yes, so on the original plan, there were more deciduous and non-deciduous trees. I'm doing a quick count here. There's like maybe 20 or so trees as you're driving in the entrance from Federal Road into the Hawleys property. And we have, our proposal is to not plant those. It's to just hay that area and make the property a little bit more unified. To the right-hand side of the entrance when you're driving in, that's where we have Kwanzaa cherry trees, we have ornamental grasses, we have a horse fence going like a 3-slatted horizontal typical fence that you would see to keep horses in their neighborhood. We liked the feel of that. We thought that it kind of went with a farm theme. And then we'll have lawn from in front of the ornamental grasses up to, where Federal Road and Junction Road, where the corner is. And then moving on to the entrance off of Junction Road. I'm just going to look at both of them so that I can speak to that. One moment, please.
Yeah, I'll tell everybody what I did. I went back to your original plan and grabbed one of the sheets, one of the landscape sheets, and then I did a snip. And so now I have the snip on top of, what of the new plan. That's what I did to try and get an understanding of the differences. I don't know if that was clear as mud for everybody or helpful.
Mhm.
I've got it up on 2 different screens, but so in effect, I have the same thing. But
Yeah.
what I'm seeing, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. or Miss Steiner, you're not putting up building A1, A2, A3, D, or E.
As of right now,
Not
no.
at this moment,
Nope.
right?
Well, if we modify this, that's what's
Well,
gonna.
no, this is, oh, no, again, we were just looking at the planting plan for the area just around the entrances. We assume that these buildings are still viable and we will come back in on a case-by-case basis when we're ready to build them.
Well, we have to make a judgment based on the full final plan. I can't make a judgment on one that says half of it or 3/4 of it's still gonna be a cornfield. When in fact, some of it certainly needs to be detention basins.
Right, well, that's gonna stay the same. Again, we were more focusing on just the areas around the front entrances, assuming everything else will be left the same, unless we ask for a modification.
I'm with Mark. If we approve this sheet LS1 mod, there would be no buildings, there
Okay.
would be none of the
Okay.
other work. And I think I understand what you're saying, is all you really want to change at this point is
Yeah.
the planting around the entrance off Federal Road. Is that-
Yeah,
Okay.
it's sort of decorative more than anything else, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Well, you don't want
okay,
to do
so
that
then-
at the expense of not being able to put
No.
up buildings in the future.
No,
no, so then we should come back with a revised set of plans that takes the original C11 and bubbles the areas that we'd like to change as of right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just simply
Okay.
change the plantings
Fine.
on the
We
full
need-
plan.
we need
Okay.
one drawing that shows what you want it to be.
Yep.
So if it
Okay.
doesn't show buildings, we don't want to approve and you
I
not be able to
understand.
build buildings if that's your intent.
Right, you don't want to lose your buildings, basically. That's the
No.
important thing right now.
That's correct. And now is everybody okay with kind of the concept of what we're trying to achieve?
Hmm.
I need to
I
look
don't-
at it in whole on one drawing to really make. a
Yeah, okay,
judgment.
fine.
I'm not-
Yeah, we'd be happy to do that. We can get that in the next.
I do have a question on this new drawing above, as I'm looking at it, to the north of the parking area. You're now writing in hay to the northern tree line. Are you planning to replant hay in that area until
Yes.
you develop the rest of
Yes.
the property?
yes.
Until we
Yes.
develop it, yes, that
Yes.
is correct.
Is anyone else on the commission, have any concern about that? I mean, I don't necessarily, but I'm just curious because right now it's what? You cleared it?
Well, no, what happened was 2 years ago was the last year we had the farmer from that planted our corn. He unfortunately died in a tractor accident last
Oh,
year.
no.
So he
Oh,
doesn't
gosh.
want to, so he really had a hard, this was like this was the farthest one that he had. He came from Watertown and we had a hard time getting him to come back because now we just, we have half of the site disturbed a little bit. So it was a stretch for him and his family to come. Now they don't want to come back. So we started trying to get a corn farmer. We had a really hard time. And then we said, we really think to stabilize the site. Nothing happened on it last year. We really want to stabilize it and get some grass growing. So I had contact with this farmer out of Bridgewater, and he said he would love to be able to turn into hay. He could use the hay for his cows for a short term until we develop the next project. So that was kind of our concept.
Hmm.
The other, from an aesthetic point of view, the corn is not pleasing all year round. I mean, it's beautiful when it's full size and when it's growing, but then when it gets cut, you have the stalks and they're brown. And we were thinking if we did the hay, it would be a little bit more pleasing for a longer period of time.
Well, the question I have is in that area, in the original approved plan, there is a retention basin.
Yeah, that's still going to be built, and we got half of it built already. The recharge basin in the back did not have to be completed until we did more impervious. And right now, the detention that we've started was calculated by CCA. That's enough. That's all we need for the little bit of pavement that we have. So again, when we develop the next few buildings, we will then go and put those basins in.
When does this permit expire? Or when are you out of extensions and all of that?
I don't have that top of my
I
head.
think, I believe it's 2023, but I was under the impression that I
Alice, you might
wasn't
know
certain
that.
if the time reset at some
No,
point, no.
we-
Okay, so I believe it's 2023.
Yeah, when I look at it, the math I'm doing, it would look like 2023, which gets here quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, luckily, in one way, the market's actually, we think this is the first one to get going. We're happy to get going now with the Hollies, and we think this is a really good, avenue to start continue developing it. And we've actually had quite a bit of interest. So we're going to start actively marketing it now.
Good.
Well, things
I need
may
to-
bounce
I don't
back
wanna
pretty
speak for everyone
quickly
else.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to speak for the rest of the commissioners, but I'm not gonna, talking about something when I don't have the actual drawing that I need is kind of, I don't want to waste everybody's time.
That's fine. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we understand, and we'll redo the plans
We
and
can
get,
revise.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get
Yeah,
the
and-
revise to you.
Yeah, what would be, like I said, what would be helpful would be, like I said, as Mark says, to be sure we understand what it is that you're asking, for the change, because it looks like, again, I don't have the luxury of 2 screens, but it looks like the hayfield takes out, I don't know, rough guess, 30, 40, 50 trees that were in the original approval.
I think we'll have to go back at that, Sharon, and then take a look at it from, again, we were just concentrating just the entrances right now. We
Yeah.
we weren't thinking the way you're thinking. So let us come back with a full set of plan that shows everything that we're looking to do, and we'll have the
Perfect.
numbers for you.
But
Yeah,
even,
I mean, I was not on the commission in 2009, so I
Right.
don't remember this side, of the wetlands. I mean, I know there's a big cornfield. I know it was wetlands. I know there's a lot of fill in there. And so I don't know, and likely would not have remembered 11 years ago what the rationale was for all of these plantings, if there was anything besides aesthetics. So,
Well, I think I see Steve Sullivan just keyed in, and he can probably say that was because that was what the code at that time was, right, Steve, for the number of plantings that we had?
Correct, yes. This is Steve Sullivan for record. I think what the applicant is trying to do is just modify the corner of 133 and Federal Road, because there's that pocket wetland near the driveway. So in that corner, they want to modify the original planting plan to more of a farm-like look to it. And the reason they're in front of you guys is because it's a modification to an approved plan in that area. That landscape there we're talking about is in the regulated area. And then
Right.
in addition, the entrance off of 133, same thing. They want to modify that entrance area to more of a farm-like look. And again, that's in that, there's another pocket wetland along 133, and there's a regulated area associated with that. And as far as the back goes, again, they have till 2023 to develop that property, but in the meantime, I think they just want to plant it with a hay vegetation so that farmer can use it for his livestock.
the only question I would have though, and again, as Sharon said, we, not having been on the commission at the time, there were many trees on both sides of that entrance, and how those trees would affect, and how changing those trees into lawn or hay, lawn and hay, would affect that wetlands. If there was a reason for the trees, for shading, for some other
The
purpose, it
trees
would
are
be
part of
important
the
for us to
zoning,
know.
the zoning requirements. They have a front yard landscape buffer strip,
Mhm.
and that's what they were
Right.
designed to.
well, we've got a little time. We can go try and go back and look at the minutes from 11 years ago. See if there was,
All
see
right.
if there's anything
So
there to be gleaned. So,
Okay, no, I agree with Steve. Those plants were really just whatever was required at that time. We had like a month and a half to put this application together. We took the regulations at that time and said, let's just meet every aspect of every regulation. We put it in and got in front of the commission. So I hate to say, there wasn't a lot of thought to these plants other than we wanted to meet every requirement of the regulation for the zoning for the planting.
So are you
Okay.
representing that zoning has changed their regulations and they don't need these anymore? Or are you going to zoning after you go to us? 'Cause that
We're
was
gonna
a
go to
zoning
zoning afterward.
regulation.
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay.
all right.
Do you
Well,
want
we've
us
got
to
some time.
accept this? Do you want us to accept this as a submission now, or just wait until you redo it?
No, let's wait till we get the right
No, I-
one that everybody's comfortable with. I think.
Well, no, I think we can, Michael, I think we can, I don't think there's any great problem here with, making today the acceptance date. I mean, give
Okay.
them a chance to, to sort of sort of rework it so it's a little more clear exactly what change, they want. We've got some time to do that. For some reason it doesn't happen in 2 weeks. I mean, that's
Okay.
fine. I think we've got, without doing anything, the decision date is in July, so.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, now we understand, so we'll be back
Okay.
as soon as we can, okay?
Yeah, it's a little trickier, when you gotta go from toggle from one monitor, over
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
another, and so.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, well, if there are
Right.
any other questions from my colleagues? Someone want to make a motion to continue this?
I would move that we continue item number W-20-20 for 401 Federal Road until the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that was Dave. I think I heard on the
Mhm.
second.
Yep. Mhm.
All righty. Okay, well, I said, John thinks maybe we should put our hands up, so I'm fine with that. So I said, all those in favor to continue? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimous, 5-0.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night. We'll see
you.
you. in 2
Thank
weeks.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next up is 204A Wisconsin Road. It's a new lot, I think. I think, Steve, you're here for that, but I just want to do just a quick introduction here. I know the applicant, I know the property owner. He's done some work on my property, a couple pieces over the last couple of years, I will say brilliantly. I called him about a week ago because I need just a bit of just regular routine maintenance. So I called him because I wanted the schedule to get the work done. And he mentioned during the call that he had an application, that was going to come in front of wetlands. So I'm just looking at it here for the first time. Like I said, I think in a town like Brookfield, it's going to be, common, I think, for, people to know the applicants. I don't have any financial interest in what's happening here, so I don't feel like I need to recuse myself, but I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention, just to let everybody know that I heard about this a little bit before you did, so.
Okay.
I
All right.
appreciate that, Chairperson Fox, but I agree. We're going to know people in town.
Yeah, but I think it's always important, like I said, to get it out,
Yep.
and make sure, at least, I will feel better, knowing that I shared with you, like I said, a little bit about this, because I heard about it, like I said, about 3 days before you did, so. All right, Steve, why don't you take us through this one a little bit here? It's like I said, it looks like it's a new lot. Maybe I can just help you. I was looking at the application here. There are wetlands on the property, but it doesn't look like this plan is going to disturb any of the wetland areas. Nothing for disturbed water courses, and a little bit on the upland review area, 0.3 acres.
Right. Alice, can you make me a co-host or? Did she hear me?
No,
I don't know.
I can hear you.
Yes, I did make you a co-host.
Okay, I'll pull up that plan now. Can everyone see this survey
Yep.
map? Okay.
Yep.
So this is 204A Wisconsin Road and 206 Wisconsin Road. Both properties are owned by the applicant, John and Cheryl Shalcom. They're looking to do a free cut on the 204A property to create a lot so that they're going to build a house for their son. Isn't that nice? And
Yep.
so 204A is 6.7 acres. We have a wetland area on the east side and a pond. Can everyone see my cursor?
Yes.
Yep, okay. So this area is the wetland area. It has an access way from Wisconsin Road with a driveway that comes up the access way, past the pond to the existing single-family home garage. They already had there's a pool there. They have some horses in this area. And the interesting thing about this right away, it actually serves us another lot that's located here that's owned by someone else, but they have the right to that driveway. So it's a common driveway right now. Move on to what we're proposing to do. So this is our first division of land, which is a free cut in other terms. Last Thursday, the Planning Commission approved the free cut. So this area right here is the new lot. And that's served by a 50-foot wide easement, which is required by zoning to access the lot from Wisconsin Road. And the new lot is about 1.8 acres. This is an R40 residential zone. So let me go to the site plan here.
So Steve, on this, so this one, is this C1? Is that,
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, no, so you're gonna go to C1, right? Yeah.
I'm going to go to the site plan next, Sharon, and I can
Yep.
show you a little bit more about the proposal. Okay, this is the site plan. Let me zoom out here. Okay. So because we have, there's already two lots accessing this right away, and we're adding a third lot in the back. We're proposing we have to widen the existing driveway to the 18-foot wide common driveway regulation and planning. And there's a little caveat with that, which I'll explain to you in a second. But so this driveway through here will be widened to 18 feet until we get to this area where we're crossing between the wetlands on this property and the wetlands on that property. And what I'm proposing is that we, for about a 95-foot section of driveway, that we keep it at 12 feet wide. It's a straightaway. And this way it'll minimize the amount of activity in the regulated area. But I would ask that, I have to ask the land use office to have the fire marshal weigh in on this proposal.
Steve, we already did send them a letter today or a memo today asking for their opinion on it. So
Okay.
we should hear fairly soon.
So
when you put in a new house, you're going to have be able to have EMS vehicles
Yes.
go up to the house.
Yeah, so once
that
we
might be
pass
the only
that-
problem with 12 feet.
Well, once we pass that area, we go back to 18, which goes in front of the existing house and stops just before the new lot. And then this area is the proposed house, septic system, the wells in the back. So the regulated area that we're proposing is associated with the wetlands on 206. So we have some activity in this area here for the widening the driveway. And then the driveway widening once you get through or just to the west of the pond area. And then there's no activity in this area and there's no activity in this area. We're outside the 75-foot regulated area with the house and septic and well in that driveway. So really the only regulated area activity is kind of on the corner where the driveway turns and then in the beginning here where we widen to 18 feet. But if the fire department says they want to come back and we want to widen it, maybe they'll say like accept 14 feet. There's enough room here to do 18 feet. And I assume the commission might take a walk out there. But this is kind of all open. The only thing is there's, it's a grass area between the pond and the existing driveway. But just thought on that straightaway, we could probably get away with a narrower driveway. So we'll have to wait and see what the fire marshal comes back with.
So Steve, these are
Well,
not.
once again,
there's no-
the width has to do with, emergency vehicles
Correct.
being able to get up to the house.
Absolutely.
It's nothing more
I
than
don't see
that.
any restriction on that width getting a vehicle through there. They have to get through there now. But if
And
they
I-
Did
wanted
you
to
mention
widen
this
it,
at the planning commission?
so it technically is just a free cut and it's not a subdivision. So which planning
Okay,
commission
so you
has,
didn't bring this up with them.
I'm sorry?
You didn't bring up this
We did talk
notion
about
about
it
the,
a little bit, and they said, let's see what the fire marshal says.
yeah, that I'd concur with that. I think 12 feet might be a little too narrow, but if the various services in town can accept it, then I'm okay with it. But I have my doubts about 12 feet. That's
Well, keep in mind, it's used, I mean, that's what it is now. So there's a house there now, so they should be able to access that.
I just want to interject to make sure that we all understand that zoning regulations, that has no effect on us. That's not under our purview, whether EMS can make it there or fire or anything. We are
Right.
looked at wetlands impacts only.
Right.
Getting back to the wetlands issues, my question is if you do, well, even the area you're saying you are going to widen the driveway, is that work in the wetlands or just the review area?
There's no wetland activity, no direct wetland disturbance at all. It's just upland review, regulated area activity.
Okay, and you're not coming
Stephen-
closer to the pond, you're going away from the pond, correct?
So, yeah, so I held this existing edge of driveway. Actually, right in here is where we kind of widen on both sides of the driveway. If you could see my cursor there, Mike.
I do, okay.
Okay.
Well, Steve, is there a culvert? I see a little dotted line that's running. from
There's
the
an
wetland.
existing culvert from that. It's a small pipe that crosses under the driveway. There's no
4-inch.
reason for us to change that at this, we're not proposing to change
So
that.
there's no reason to think that it's undersized or anything?
No, it acts as a outlet control from that pond. So it's, sometimes you got ponds with, small diameter orifices, and so that controls the outflow.
Okay,
And so we have a stormwater, a roof recharge system way over on the south side here for the new dwelling, which is located right here.
right. Okay. Well, I personally appreciate your efforts, to minimize that driveway, on the 12-foot side, right, again, between the
Right.
pond and the wetlands. I really appreciate that. Like I said, from my standpoint right now, just looking at this, I don't see any real impact to the wetlands from anything that you are proposing here. You're not taking down any trees. You're not making anything worse.
Mhm.
I'm gonna stop and take a look at it.
So you'll go out individually?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so the driveway's there, so that gives you a good frame of
Right.
reference. Obviously,
I
the
don't see any reason for me to go past the 90 either, so I'm not even gonna go up to the house, but I just
Yeah.
want to get as far as that
to the
pond.
proposed dwelling? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I think there's enough things out there that you can see where you're at with the
I
houses.
should be able to
and the
figure that
pool.
out.
yeah, we should be able to figure that out. Yeah, no, I'm very keen to get out there and take a look at it. So you're 12 foot, that brings you how far are you from the wetlands? Like 12 feet, 10 feet?
Oh, let me see here. I'll zoom in.
Yeah, probably in that neighborhood.
So, yeah, here's the wetland line. Yeah, I would say there's a utility pole right here. You'll see that when you go out there.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I would say we're in the 10 to 15 foot range right now.
all right. But I said, you're really not expending it. And is it gonna stay gravel or are you guys gonna pave it?
It's paved now.
It's
It's
paved
not the
now.
best, it's an old pavement, but it is paved.
Okay,
Oh, and you're removing a stone wall?
On the north side, you see the GSF line?
Yeah.
Mark, that's our limit of construction. So the way I've graded this driveway is just the sheet flow to the north into a grass swale area and then let it run off. So this stone wall right through here would be removed.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like your driveway's only going up to just about where that wall, I guess at some parts it's over it.
So, yeah, so the 18 feet, we stop right here, we
Yeah.
narrow it up to 12.
Yeah, but you
And
go
then we-
east a couple of 20 or 30 feet and you're back into the wall, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then once we pass this area, I widen it back to 18.
Is the wall in the review area or no?
Yeah, so the review area,
Mhm.
you see this, well, you have the two review areas.
Okay, I'm trying
75
to, yeah,
foot is here, and then when you have to add the additional area from the slopes, that line is that.
okay, so the regulated area.
So
the
this
stone wall is-
activity, all this activity right here is in the regulated area.
Okay.
And that's associated with this wetland over here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna take a look at it. I can't.
And Jim
think of it.
McManus was the soil scientist.
Yeah. So where the wetlands, when were the wetlands flagged, Steve?
Is I'll get the date here for you. He was out there in the beginning of December 2019.
Okay, thank you.
And you don't have to take down those two big trees to the north of the driveway? Just after the driveway that runs south?
Where are you looking again, Mark?
Well, they're not shown on your drawing. I'm looking at a aerial view map. So if we come off West Wisconsin Road, you have the
Correct.
first house on the left.
Yes.
20 feet past that house or 30 feet past that house, there's two trees on the right-hand side.
Yeah, so kind of where the stone wall is when you go out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, those would be removed.
I don't see that noted on your drawing.
Well, so any vegetation in that stone wall area would be removed, but We'll note
if
it.
they're in a upland review area, I'd like you to note it for me.
Okay.
Give me an idea what they are.
Yep.
Be fair to all applicants. That's just the two I see. There might be a few more when you get up close to the pond, but I'm not
okay.
positive. You'll have a better idea.
Yeah, we'll get a better idea when we go out there and take a look
Yeah.
too, so. Because that might be the only thing is if there's any significant change to any trees that are maybe shadowing the wetland, maybe not so much shadowing the pond, but shadowing the wetland, so.
Yep.
All right, like I said, if you could take a look at the trees that you're taking down
Yep.
in the regulated area, that would be helpful. I know we'll give everyone a chance to sit there and take a look. Anything else?
I'll just come back in 2 weeks.
We'll be here, same
I'll make-
place.
I'll make a motion. We continue item W 20-23 to our next regular meeting.
I'll
Thank you, Mark.
second it.
Okay, John, I saw John's hand go up for the second, so John seconds. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
I,
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimous.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
All right, thank you.
Steve.
Take care.
All righty, well, next up, we have 100 Candlewood Lake Road, a new school project. Is there anyone here for this? Go to the participants. Anyone
Yes,
here representing the
Yes.
applicant?
there are several people.
Okay, does somebody want to, representing the applicant, does someone want to start maybe?
Sure. And kick off Eddie Wadowski with Tecton Architects. With
Okay.
me is Jeff Wazinski, also from Tecton, Darren Overton, and Matt Sanford from Mylone and McBroom, our civil engineers for the project.
Are they in the room with you or they're just on the,
They're on the screen.
okay,
They're
great,
on the
yep,
Yeah, virtual in the room.
all right.
Okay, so thank you for having us. We've been working on this project for quite some time. Originally, making the grant application to the state of Connecticut this past spring. We've started in the fall in earnest with the design for the project. We've had several coordination meetings with various town agencies. We've met a couple of times with the development services team. We've met with fire, with police, sewer, zoning board of appeals, planning. So we are currently end of our design development phase. We are a couple weeks away from submitting the project to the state to be approved to go into the construction document phase. And so we are going through the process of all the various town approvals. So we are submitting obviously our wetlands application, and Darren is going to show you a lot more about the ins and outs of our site plan.
Oh, okay. Well, I said, I was just looking at the application here. There's about 22 acres on this lot.
Yep.
You've got about 1.8 acres of wetlands, and you've got about 4,600 square feet of disturbed wetlands, 800 feet of water courses, and disturbed linear feet of water courses about 250 feet. Sound right?
Yes.
Okay.
In a disturbed upland review area of 165,600 feet.
Yeah. All right, great, thank you. You guys just want to give us maybe a summary of what you think we should be looking at here? Because I mean, I think if we get just a little bit of a summary, I mean, we are open to discussion here, from our colleagues about, what the right course of action is. We have a couple of things we want to think about, conceivably again, with disturbed wetlands, we might want to be thinking about a public hearing. Conceivably, we might want to be thinking about, maybe some technical, maybe an additional technical review.
I have a few ideas if you'd like.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to mention that. Well, I think we want to hear from them, Mark, but these are just some of the things I think we want to be thinking about, tonight.
Well, right. Just looking at the disturbed wetland area in the disturbed upland review area, my view is we've never done anything even close to this large without a public hearing. And in the effort of saving everyone time and money and everything, I would like to have our experts and have the public hearing started so they don't have to give us this presentation and give the same exact presentation to our experts 2 weeks from now or 4 weeks, whenever we get them on. That would be the only thing I want to say before they start. If they want to say it twice, I'm fine with that too. That's just where I'm at right now.
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted to try and start it, sort of tee up those conversations for, for us to think about it.
Right.
So let me just, like I said, Mark said something, I've said something, John, Michael, Dave, you guys want to weigh in before we ask these guys for maybe a little bit of a summary here?
Well, as Mark said, this is a significantly large project, certainly larger and more involved than anything I've been involved in the commission. It's clearly there is significant impact on the wetlands, not that there isn't already with the existing school. But I think I'm not sure how we as a commission would approach this. And this is as much a question for my fellow commission members as to a judgment call of the value of a school versus the value of the wetlands. And clearly, from what I've read, and I did try to read as much of the 70-some page proposition, and I looked at all the documents today. Clearly, a lot of thought and effort has been put into mitigating, and in fact, in some cases, improving the wetland situation. I had only one comment. I think I made this before, but I noticed in the list of, let me find my notes, of the various wetlands and what the impact and value each wetland had, as well as a review of why they felt that was the case. And I was a little surprised, and I would actually like to see it reversed, that on each of the wetlands, they said there was no educational value, as there was nothing to discuss on that. However, I would think that since this is a school, perhaps this would be an opportunity to provide a little training to the students, make use of the wetlands on the property, to instruct the students as to the value of the wetlands and how we can protect them for future generations. And that might be something that, I don't know if it's something we can consider as part of our approval or just my personal suggestion to the Board of Education. Also, there were significant potential impact to the two species that have been found, the box turtle and sorry, I don't remember what the second species.
Slimy salamander.
That's right, I should remember that, the slimy salamander. The summary says that there was no impact to those two species. However, there is, in other parts of the report, some potential impact to the species, but a lot of effort will go into protecting them, even to the extent that there appears that a herpetologist or a biologist needs to be on site at various times to certify that they're not being harmed. So again, that's an awful lot of work to protect something that is very important to us. Those are my comments. I'm not going to say one way or another as to whether I think this is the best way to do it, but certainly those are the things that are important to me.
John or Dave, any sort of,
Well, I don't think we should order the school system to have studies about wetlands, but we could suggest it to the Board of Ed. That might not be a bad idea.
Well, the only reason I brought it up is because in the wetland, the wetland report as to what the results are, what the values are, it actually said there was no educational value to the various wetlands on the property. So I thought it might be worth mentioning that I thought there was.
And just a little backstory, we've had some luck with previous applicants putting up some placards and notices with little signs, not for the school. We can't dictate to the schools, and no one is saying that. But so if people are, we've had little viewing areas that have placards up. So that's things I'm sure the architects have looked at or will look at if we want them to.
That would be optional. It isn't a bad idea, but optional.
okay. John, any sort of initial thoughts?
No, I think I'd like to go back and take a look on foot to see what everything looks like too, a little better. The map in front of me here, obviously, it's pretty well set up. No, I'm fine.
All right.
I do have one quick question for the applicant, and there's two baseball fields that appear to be eliminated. Are they being reconstructed somewhere on the site, or is that just something that the school would not have?
So the baseball fields there's different locations that are being explored for them. For the larger few fields, the most likely spot is going over to Wisconsin Middle School.
Okay.
There isn't a need per se for, it's an elementary school. We're only going up through, so we don't need to necessarily have official baseball fields on the property. So basically looking at, holistically from a town standpoint of where's the best place to put them. There are certainly going to be play areas appropriate for the ages of the students that are going to be still on site.
We've got to start training those Yankees early.
Have you looked at Cardigan Park at all?
Again?
Cardigan Park, up the street on Candlewood Lake Road.
It's, can we?
The town park, where the town beach is.
Yeah, hey, Dave, could we maybe just try and keep this to this particular application and maybe not expand it to
Yeah,
you know,
that's fine.
many, because there's a lot of ball fields and a lot of other areas for for everybody in town. Jeff, I said, you guys we had seen you, I said several months ago. So I think some of us had some idea of what you might be bringing, here. I know we've had a chance to take a look at it. A number of us, I think, have picked up the plans from town hall. I haven't yet. I've done a quick look, over the online stuff. So that's why I sort of felt it would be kind of helpful for you to hear some of the early, some of our initial thoughts from some of the commissioners. I am thinking that this does warrant a public hearing as well. So unless there's some other, let me just ask my commissioners, anything else initial? I said, other than that, Jeff, let me just turn it over to you for maybe some of your reactions or something you might want to accomplish tonight before we, again, maybe consider setting a public hearing for this.
Sure, I'm assuming you're talking to me.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard
sure.
for me to tell who the lead is.
Absolutely. So
Bear with me.
no problem. So my name's Jeff Wazinski. I'm the principal in charge from Tecton. Eddie's the project manager, and Darren Overton and Matt are here to kind of walk you through the plan. I know the board member Mulvaney didn't want to have the presentation, but if you want us to kind of give you where we're at to date, kind of the 10-cent tour, if you will, if that helps, I think Darren's prepared to do that if that is the wish of the board.
Well, again, let me just ask my commissioners. I said we don't want to get too much information, if we are going to have a public hearing, be outside of the public hearing. Again, I think there's a couple of reasons, matter of time, maybe
Sure.
something gets here that doesn't get carried over correctly. Let me just kind of ask my colleagues here how everybody feels about a public hearing. John?
I'm in favor.
Michael,
I think,
Dave?
sorry, yeah.
I think it would be valuable.
Yeah, okay, so it sounds like we've got kind of unanimous opinion for, like I said, for setting a public hearing, you guys. So I am not sure there's a lot of value maybe in having you sort of take us through, through the plan, even a high level, but maybe you could there's a lot of information here. You've got to construct, maybe you could just give us a little bit of maybe a legend of the things that you think we ought to be looking at. You've got the deep activity report and a butters list record, a plan, you got the plan set, a drainage report. You've got a scale survey and a wetlands, nice, as Michael pointed out, a 71-page wetlands report. Is that everything that we ought to be looking at?
Yeah, I'm gonna have Darren kind of just give a brief overview of what the package
Okay.
includes. That way,
Yeah.
he spent most of the time preparing this. Go ahead, Darren.
Hello, everyone. Darren Overton from Mylona McBroom. I'm the project manager and a civil engineer with Mylona McBroom. I've been working with Matt Sanford, who's our wetland scientist, putting together the plans and, of course, working very closely with Tecton to best fit the new school into the site. I had planned about a 10-15-minute presentation, and Matt has more detail that he can present on the wetlands, but I get the sense that the commission doesn't want a long presentation tonight. We did prepare a few graphics. Alice, I don't know if you want to put those up or not.
I made you a co-host. Sorry, I made you a co-host, Darren, if you want to go ahead and show them from your screen.
Okay.
I would just like to take this moment to be clear. If you want to give the presentation tonight and another night, I'm not telling you not to give it to us. I just want to make sure our experts and the public get a chance to hear everything that we hear. That's all I was getting at.
Absolutely. Okay. This is a test of Darren's technical skills right now, so let's see. First test.
Okay, yep, working on sharing the screen. Here we go. Can everyone see the plan?
Yep.
Okay, so there's the pretty title sheet. It's got everybody's name on it, but it doesn't really tell us much other than that. So here's the existing conditions plan. One of the few things that Matt wanted me to point out to you as being important is in his wetland analysis and impact assessment. When he went out and delineated the wetlands, he delineated 6 distinct wetlands. Starting at the northern part of the site, wetland 1 here is associated with a tributary coming in from the north. And there's a head wall here that goes into a pipe system. Wetland 2 is another tributary that comes in from the north and the west into a head wall, again into the pipe system under the baseball fields. Wetland 3 is kind of a side hill wetland here that we think was created as part of the excavation for the fields, where you have groundwater seeps coming out and wetland vegetation. There actually is an under drain along the edge of this that drains the water away from the fields. That's an isolated kind of a pocket wetland other than the under drain connection, which drains south. And then we have a small pocket here, wetland 4, that's actually within, not really the regularly mowed area, but an area of the around the fields behind the baseball diamond that does get mowed periodically. Wetland 5 is just over the border that you see here, the southern border, which is the Erickson farm parcel that abuts here. And there's a pretty large wooded wetland that's on the northern part of the Erickson farm parcel there. And then as we come around counterclockwise here to wetland 6, this again comes back into the stream corridor. The blue lines on the plan here are the 2 tributaries that come into the site. They join on site under the fields and then are discharged southerly with that stream draining south. On this plan, the 100-foot or 75-foot upland review area is delineated around the wetland areas, and that's how we came up with our wetland impacts. So moving on, the next sheet, we just put a little bit of color on our grading plan, and we've highlighted in a very bright red here the areas where we have added up the wetland impact. We have talked to the Corps and Deep about a permit determination. We have a determination from the Corps that we don't need any higher level permits. It's just a self-verification. We are under the 5,000 square feet that would trigger a higher level permit. And with Deep, we only have a construction stormwater general permit that's needed. And also we have a permit related to the floodplain through the site. FEMA does map a 500-year floodplain, which actually continues through the pipe system on the site. So we have a floodplain management certificate that we need to file with Deep as part of this. We have worked with Tecton to carefully fit this building. This is not just transferring the students from the existing Huckleberry School. It's going to combine the center school in here, which is going to more than double the enrollment. The school is designed for up to 1,266 students. And then we have the parking and the access drives on the east side of the site, on the other side of the stream corridor. We have on the north side a bus loop and faculty parking in between. South side is a parent drop-off, and then parent or visitor parking is in that area. We have a exit only along the southern boundary, and then the main entrance is a full entrance or exit to the site in a similar location to where the existing entrance to Huckleberry School is now. As part of this, we have worked very closely with Tecton. I've worked very closely with Matt as far as the impact to wetlands. We've minimized this, we believe, to the maximum extent we can. You can see we clipped some little edges of the wetlands here. Starting with wetland 1, we have some impact cleaning out that head wall. Wetland 2, we also have some impact. We have to rebuild that head wall as part of this. A little bit of impact to wetland 3 for the emergency access drive. Wetland 4, this small pocket, unfortunately gets sacrificed for the play area to fit that in, and also the emergency access drive that we've worked with the fire department on. And then over here, the main entrance and the secondary, the 2 main entrances actually, we have a couple of box culverts. There's some impact to the existing outlet and natural channel that exists there. And as part of the mitigation, we are actually opening up part of that former culverted stream and doing some natural stream channel restoration. We believe that Deep is going to look favorably on this as part of our FMC application. So there's quite a bit of thought that has gone into this, and you'll see when we get to the public hearing. We have also, we'll show you some of the alternatives that we looked at, and we can discuss when we get there the reasons why we rejected those. So that's the quick overview. Matt can provide more detail if you want it, but obviously, like Commissioner Mulvaney said, I don't want to spend too much of your time tonight, just so you hear it over again at the public hearing.
Well, I very much appreciate that, Mr. Overton. That was a great summary. So, and thank you for mentioning again the, what you're working with. That you're still actively, talking with the state on it, so everybody can hear me.
Going in and out.
We've
Sharon.
lost you, Sharon.
Okay.
Now it can hear you.
Is that better?
Yep.
I don't know where the noise is coming from. Is that better?
Oh, sorry, that was my phone. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. We were just about ready to mute you, so then we'd have to tell you to unmute yourself. All right. Like I said, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the update on you still have some in-process conversations going on with Deep for for their interests. I really appreciate that. Let's see, and let me anything else you want to share with us? Like I said, but I do think we're headed to set scheduling a public hearing for this.
Unless the commission has any specific questions or anything they have concern with or anything they want us to present, we'd be happy to do that. Otherwise, it sounds like you've got a consensus that this is going to public hearing, so we can take care of the rest of it at that point if you prefer.
Well, that's, I said where it is, and you did mention that you had a couple of alternatives that I noted that you mentioned you had a couple of other alternatives that you looked at. You'd have your preference here, but I appreciate, I'm sure I know I'll be interested in some of the alternatives that you looked at as well. So.
One thing.
Yeah, Mark.
Sorry, Sharon. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. But these are harder to run, because I can't look around and see things. So
I know you're doing a great job. These are so tough. One thing I don't see, and maybe I'm missing, are you creating any new wetlands for the wetlands you're taking away?
So the stream channel restoration here, right now, the culvert discharges at this location.
Yeah.
And so we're restoring an open stream channel here and up here. So that is the mitigation that we're doing as part of this. One of the interesting things in looking at this is the area that we're working in is about 15 acres of disturbed area, and we're clearing very few trees. I think the only area we have some trees or shrubs to clear is kind of up near these head walls and then at this outlet here. For the most part, we're working within the disturbed areas from the original construction of the school and the fields. Matt can answer more closely on the mitigation that we're doing if you want more detail on that.
Yeah, I mean, like to see, certainly if we're losing wetlands, some factor greater than that of new wetlands, and so some more detail on those. I thought it was just a stream bed. If that's going to be some sort of wetland also, then that's great. So I'd be interested in seeing some more detail on what you're doing there and some square footages.
This is just Matt Sanford. I should correct a little bit about the impacts. Not all the impacts actually result in a net loss of wetlands. For example, wetland impact W-1 up the northern part of the site, we're just cleaning out the existing stream bed in front of the culvert. So there's no net loss of wetland, but it is an impact, obviously temporarily. So we do have some net loss though in areas. So we'll have to, as the public hearing process begins, we'll clearly demonstrate to the commission what is a net loss impact versus a temporary impact in terms of maintenance or
that would be great. Even if it was just another color on this with the detail, some square footage, that'd be great.
We'll clarify that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? If not, maybe we could look at some dates here. Alice, anything that is more complicated now that we are all doing this, remotely in terms of setting a public hearing? I normally we give like a month out to
Yeah.
get all
No,
the
I don't
notices.
see any problem. I just need to know if you are considering third-party reviews, I should start lining people up. So you can have the information for the public hearing.
Right.
Yeah.
Has anyone had any thought about whether the public hearing would be public or virtual?
It'll probably be virtual, but the public is welcome to attend.
Of course.
Yeah, it gets very tough, but it's I have no doubt that Ms. Fox can handle the public in one of these things, but it gets tricky.
I'm sure it will be, like I said, it will be a team effort. That's what I was thinking about. I have to, in terms of a, third party, a third party review.
We need a wetland scientist and a soils scientist, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
that's what.
storm.
A lot of
times you go ahead and get an engineer and then a wetlands and soil professional.
Right.
Right.
But I'm also wondering about something for the box turtle and the slimy salamander. Do we need to do something that are mentioned in their reports?
And there's also a rare plant that needs to be protected that exists.
Thank you, Michael.
So can I, this is Matt again, can I just say a few things about the listed species as a biologist? So the slimy salamander is an amphibian species that needs rocky talus outcrop habitats. Where we're proposing this project on an existing athletic field doesn't support that habitat. If you go through my report, which I know is extensive, you probably haven't had enough time to look at it. We've already had communication with Dawn McKay at the Connecticut DEP. She has signed off on the project in terms of listed species. In fact, the plant that we found out there was not in the database. So we've actually added a species to the DEP database out there. So we've done our homework as it relates to the listed species. But again, I'll leave it up to the commission to determine whether they think an additional biologist is required. But I will say that DEP has already looked at the plans, has looked at our protection measures, and has given us acknowledgement that that we meet their intentions.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But we still are tasked with protecting the wetlands in our town.
Yeah.
And we need to do that in the way we see fit. I don't know that the Connecticut DEP is exactly, is detail oriented as we would be for our town.
Okay, so we've got definitely, I think, Alice, I think what I'm hearing here is definitely we want to try and get a Connecticut soil scientist engaged.
Okay.
An engineer for, that has experience with storm water management.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Okay.
maybe I said some Connecticut soil scientists, have, some extra credentials in biology. Not all of them. Some do, I think. I've never actually gone looking for a biologist.
I just wouldn't want to get 3 meetings into this and decide we need one, and now we're in a crunch time for timeline.
Yeah. Well, let's do this. So let's put a tender out for the 3 skills. Like I said, a wetland soil scientist, someone with experience with storm water management, and someone with credentials, some biology credentials, to help us with the, with the 2 animals. Now, what do we do with the plants? The plant.
The report, Sharon, was fairly specific in requesting a herpetologist, I believe, an expert in these particular species.
Yeah,
Or maybe if you look into that report, you'll see that it
yeah, I
talks
did,
specifically
I
on that.
scanned it. I didn't get a chance to read all of it, so. I'm just
would
thinking,
put a-
I said, well, I don't know if we've ever, I don't even know if we have a list, you know, to
Yeah.
try and find someone with a biology credential or someone who has credentials with herpetology. I've never gone looking for that. This is the first one that I've run across where we have to deal with known impacted animal habitats. Yeah. So I mean, I think we should look for one. I don't know. Well, this would be a first time for us, for me, anyways.
Yeah, I'll try to get some names together. See if
Yeah, maybe
we
some of the
can
soil
find-
scientists, you know, maybe some of them might know someone that's got, you know, the appropriate credentials.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
and
a
I'll-
list here. So I'm sure
What are you
I'll
looking at,
also
Mark?
find it.
Are you
Yeah, I
looking
have
at
lists
something?
of both. It's just, I'll have to check with them too to make sure there aren't any conflicts, any overlaps. You know, that they haven't used these people before or
Yeah,
for this project in any degree.
Right.
right.
All right.
So we're in general agreement here, 3 skills,
Mhm.
science, wetland, soil scientist, stormwater management, biology / herpetology.
So 3 or 4 skills, yes.
Yeah.
The more we can limit it, the better, but you know, finding someone to wear that many hats can be tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't think the first 2 for sure, I think will be 2 individuals. I said, there may be a soil scientist that may have, you know, some credentials with herpetology. I would think the wetland soil scientist would be familiar with the plants.
Hmm.
You know, with the plant, I would think if they, you
Certainly
know, thinking
possible.
about it. Yeah. All right, did we give you enough information, Alice?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's go back and think about dates. So I would think at least a month out.
We might be able to have a physical public hearing at that point in a month.
Yeah, maybe June 22nd. Is the date I'm thinking about.
Mhm.
Well, the second phase of opening up is June 20th, so.
Well, we'll play that one by ear. Let me ask the applicant, anything, like I said, if we're looking at a month out, anything about June 22nd? That might present a challenge for you guys? Everyone gonna be here, not on vacation?
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, wishful thinking, right?
Yeah,
but
wishful
I thought
thinking is
worthy
indeed.
to ask.
I'm going away the
Oh,
week
Jeff.
after, so.
Yeah. So again,
It
Jeff,
would
Matt,
definitely be preferable to have a physical public hearing as opposed to a virtual.
well, let's cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
But we
play
would
on
have to
words.
notice it, right? We have to notice it as either virtual or,
But
we got to
that
notice it. So I think
notification-
we'd have to notice it as virtual. So it would probably, I would think we'd have to notice it at virtual. I don't think we could change that midstream.
I would talk to Attorney Beecher, and I think in this time of crisis, you can notice it either or, you know, both ways, either or, to be, you know, finalized 48 hours prior to the meeting or something. There's some term we can use.
Yeah, I'll look
If
into
we
that.
went out 3 meetings from now to early July, would that be more one way or the other?
Well, that cuts into the
Yeah.
decision time, Dave. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from a purely selfish standpoint,
Yeah.
we'd like to try and do this
Yeah.
sooner.
yeah.
No, I understand. I know.
So
We're with you on that, Eddie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I call you Eddie because that's how your name comes up. Do you prefer Ed?
Eddie is great. Ed is fine too. Whatever you like.
And I'm Mark. None of this Mr. Mulvaney stuff.
Yeah. Okay, well, since we're looking at June 22nd, no one seems to have any challenge or difficulties or objections to that. Maybe Alice, will leave it to you. Maybe check with Tom and see if there's an either or option for noticing these correctly in these times. Maybe
Okay.
buried in one of the multiple down deep executive order subsection D/little a little Roman numeral.
How would, if we
Yeah.
do either or, how do we notify the public if it's going to be one way or the other, the day of the meeting or a day before the meeting?
Well, so Mr. Frankel, what I said was we'd have to set it probably for 48 hours out. Now that we use the News Times to notify, that certainly for Board of Ed and Board of Finance, 48 hours is acceptable. So would be fairly certain that would work here.
Yeah.
We probably would know 48 hours beforehand how we were going to do
I'm
this.
thinking.
Well, candidly, it would be more like 72 because it have to be on Friday, right? Because 48 hours
Right.
gets you to Saturday.
Yep.
If we do it on a Monday. So we would have to know by Friday, Friday the 19th.
Well, the second phase is supposed to open up on the 20th. So, we.
Yeah, well, for me, I personally think let's do it what we know today and just notice it as a Zoom meeting. That would be my suggestion. If Mr. Beecher has another opinion on it, I'm totally I'm happy with that. I personally would like to, give the public as much information as possible that with some level of certainty, and just do it as a Zoom meeting. Notice it as a Zoom meeting.
Well, and keep in mind, even if we are allowed to meet in public, we still will have to have things set up so commissioners that aren't comfortable and or public that aren't comfortable are able to Zoom in for quite some time from now.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's
think so.
That's something to consider.
Even with the opening, there's been warnings that the opening is for everyone except those at high risk. And
Yeah.
it could be those with certain diseases or breathing problems.
Yeah, and even more than that, I said, if, whatever the decision is on the 20th, we have to think about where we would do this. I mean, there is not a great deal of room, in, 133?
Right.
To be able to have people 6 or 7 feet apart, and you could face the challenge of having to turn people away or send them back home because there wasn't enough room in that meeting room. That's what I'm thinking. No matter what
Could we
happens.
do it at one of the schools? The auditorium, for example, at the high school or Wisconsin.
I don't know how to do that today.
Well,
right. I'm just thinking out loud.
My suggestion, if I may, would be that we look into that over the next 2 weeks and we have a discussion about where to hold a public hearing. So not any discussion about this topic, about this project in particular, but we could have a discussion next meeting about where to hold and how to hold that meeting, a public hearing in these times and where we could do it. We could get some feedback in 2 weeks.
Yeah, like I said, we definitely could have on the agenda just a general discussion, not
Yes.
specific to this.
We don't have the knowledge of what's going to happen with this COVID opening now. Is COVID-19 going to have a resurgence? That might change everything.
I can tell you for my personal interest, I am not interested in going to a room that'll have a lot of people. I'm not interested in that.
And I personally like meetings where I can see and touch and feel things, not people, look at paper and this computer stuff.
I surely,
I second that.
I surely miss that. Yeah.
However, Sharon, I share your feelings about being in a room with a bunch of people at this point. It could be a little dicey.
Yeah, particularly because I don't know, David, if there'll be one person or 2 people or 30. or
Right.
100. I don't-
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. We have to anticipate what the, I had another thought. I was wondering if the weather was okay, if we could have the public hearing outside in front of Town Hall, in that little park there, maybe.
That's still very iffy because you're not sure what the weather's gonna be.
Right, yeah, if the weather is bad, that wouldn't work, but, if it's a nice day, it's completely out of the box. I've never heard of anything like that before, but, something to think about.
All right, well, let's do this. Excuse me. Allison, I said you can check with Tom, tell him we are planning a public hearing. I think there's going to be a motion here in a moment. For June 22nd for this project. If he's got any suggestions, to maybe make it a location to be confirmed at a later date, fine. I said, we'll leave it with you. And if you've got any questions, you can, give me a call.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, then someone want to make a motion then to set a public hearing for this application?
I'll make a motion that we set a public hearing for project number W20-24 at 100 Candlewood Lake Road, titled The New School Project. Public hearing to be on June 20th.
22nd.
22nd, thank you.
22nd, yeah.
2020.
All
I would
right,
second that.
for
Yeah.
All right, I think that was Michael
Michael.
or Dave?
It was Michael.
All
Michael.
right. All right, so any discussion on the motion?
I don't know if I should amend that at this point to say meeting to be virtual.
I don't think you have to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Love it.
I don't think
Good.
you have to. Yeah,
Good.
we commonly don't.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, well, Jeff, Eddie, and Matt, I think Matt may have
Darren.
left.
Yeah.
Or Darren, sorry. We'll see you guys on the 22nd.
Great. Thank
Okay,
you very
so
much.
Thank you for
Thanks, guys.
everything. Thank you for that overview, and thank you for getting all that material to us. That's greatly, greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. Enjoy your evening.
All right, thanks. All right, so tabled items, we don't have any correspondence. It's just minutes of other boards and commission. Review of the previous minutes, May 11th. I thought they were terrific.
I looked at them and did I find any problems with them? I made a note. Oh, yeah. In the old business on 45 Obtuse Rocks, when we approved it, there was a note about adding a deck to the plan. I don't know if that's something that should have been in the minutes or just because we approved it that way. But for some reason, I wrote that note.
Yeah, well, the very first time we saw this, we suggested that if they were
Right.
going to have a deck on that little corner of the house, put it in now. And they did. They brought an amended plan. And
I
so
remember that. I just didn't know if that was something that should have been in the minutes or just because it's in the plan, that's.
I think it's
It was
because it's in the
approved.
plan. Because it's in the plan, Michael, so we.
Okay.
So I don't.
All right, I wrote myself a note and I wasn't sure why.
All right, someone want to make a motion then to approve the minutes?
I would move that we approve the minutes of the May 11th, 2020 meeting as written.
Okay.
Second.
All right, I think I heard Dave second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimous.
Wait, I will be
Oh, oh, oh.
abstaining.
Oh, thank you, Mark. So motion carries 4-0 to 1. You're right, I didn't see your hand go up.
I tried to jump in on the comment, but
All right, so thanks. Okay, so 4-0 to 1. All right. Boy, this is a lot harder. Discussion topics. Like I said, I am still working on my riparian buffers, so we'll leave that there. The PFAs, Michael, we're just going to leave this here till we can
Alice,
going
did you,
over, right?
did you distribute the links that I sent you?
No, are you sure you sent them to me?
Yeah, I think so. I can
Can you
resend it.
Can you resend them and I'll send them out?
Sure. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I double checked it. Yeah, I'll send it out in just a few minutes. So, you know, you'll
okay, I'll get
you'll
it
see
out in the morning then.
Right,
Yeah.
it's basically a single link to a page that of the Aquarian Water Company's website that has links to all the articles that are
Okay.
important.
Got it.
All right. Anything else informal discussion?
I have something.
Yes.
I'm just a little confused when someone does a pond cleaning, you know, they sometimes spray for various things. We usually put it on the agenda and have it under correspondence. But I got a call from a company that is going to be doing Phragmites removal and some spraying for the Phragmites over near Dairy Farm Estates. There's a pond there, and it is partially owned by Carriage Homes Association, which is Black Swan and some of the other roads over there. So what they want to do is remove the Phragmites and then spray some glyphosate and imazapyr, which are herbicides that will kill off the Phragmites because it's overtaking that pond over there. DEP has approved it, and they're asking if they should come before wetlands as well, because some towns say yes, some towns say if DEP approved it, then it should be fine. I need to know what you would like me to do going forward in situations like this.
Well, DEP has I think they can give the complete approval for like herbicides that go into a pond. So we don't get, they give us notice on those, but we don't get involved with anything in a pond.
Okay.
Now, but glyphosate and Phragmites, are the Phragmites in the pond? Does anybody know?
The Phragmites are in an outlet and weir area. They're in along the shoreline and also towards the edge of the pond.
Because we were trying to sort of, you know, so is there does anybody, have they told you, is there a chance that any of this glyphosate that could get into obviously they're going to put glyphosate into the wetlands?
It's being done by a professional service that has a license number, but I think there's always a chance that some may. This is their private, half of the pond is owned by them, so it's private. Not that it wouldn't drift into the town side.
I am very interested in glyphosate in and near wetlands. I mean, we talked to the town of Brookfield, you know, thanks to one of our commission members bringing this up, and the town isn't using glyphosate anywhere near wetlands. So I wouldn't use glyphosate in wetlands, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not
Agreed.
very interested. This is raising more questions for me. I understand the issue with herbicides in ponds. That I get, but I'm not sure I'm ready to just say, okay, for glyphosate, you know, in wetlands. I don't know how much, I don't know how big it is. I don't know if this is, again, something that is very modest and is a half a cup of glyphosate, or is, you know, 3 gallons of glyphosate or 37 gallons of glyphosate.
Well,
I can send you the information that I received, and it does say how many feet of water's edge et cetera, and how they're going to do it by boat for part of it. So
I am not interested in, I am kind of interested in having them make an application for the
Okay.
work that they're doing outside of the pond. That's where I'm kind of going. I was jumping on Mark here, so I'm going to let him talk, but, or anybody else, but I'm more interested. I said, in a pond, state takes care of that. We don't have any jurisdiction, but something outside of a pond, we care. I care.
Okay.
So, Ms. Fox, I am of the opinion that if you spray glyphosate into a pond, DEP approved, that pond will still outflow into a wetland. Therefore, we have the purview by proxy of what goes into that wetland because it's within the 75-foot review area, right? So even if we can't control what they spray in the pond directly by DEP statute or regulation, as soon as it leaves that pond,
right.
So we need to have control over these things.
Right. I agree with you.
Okay, I'll have them do an application. It'll be on the next meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
All right. Anything else from anyone?
Well, thanks for getting me angry right before we adjourn, Alice.
Hey,
Appreciate
No,
it.
no, no.
anytime.
We're going to make a good decision here. So
That skyrockets my blood pressure, that topic.
Alice,
yeah, I said I wouldn't use glyphosate in a pond in a wetland area. I wouldn't use it.
Right.
Yeah,
I would not use it.
absolutely agree. Alice, I just sent you that email again. Did you get it?
Yeah. You know, but
I'll forward it to everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see let's see what they say in an application.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Alice, for bringing that up.
Sure. All right, Mark.
All right. Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a
I
motion.
will make a motion to adjourn.
And I
All
will
right.
definitely second that.
Okay, I think I heard Dave right before Michael. Was that right, Dave?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh dear,
Oh dear.
you're
All
fast
right.
the buzzer.
All right, then you missed the buzzer there. So, all right, well then, let's see. I'll all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned. Thank you,
Good night, all.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Okay. See you in 13 days.
No, I don't envy your
Okay.
job.
Bye now.